Hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome. So this is the turn summary for the Unreal Dadman game. It is January 12th, 1942 here. And a pretty good day, actually. Pretty good day here, and the Pacific War went fairly well. Now, I'll go over some decisions here, actually, and I'm going to go over a few thoughts regarding Burma. I just need to get the drawing tool up. Okay. So we currently have, let's go ahead and use the drawing tools, we currently have about 557 AV over there, though it does have a lot of disruption of fatigue, so I'm going to rest them there. Now, I was considering actually moving the Key 43s. There's only about, there's two groups of 13, but I'm going to have the entire squadron actually reformed over here in Bangkok, so I've gone ahead and moved the last third of the squadron to Johor there right now. And they're then going to have to move up to Bangkok next turn, and then we can actually reorganize the squadron there properly. But in reality, I'm going to need zeros here. What I was thinking about is potentially having the Key 43s established at Chiang Mai, or potentially this base over here that I forget the name of, and then running the actual cap over these units. But it's like, well, I can do that, but he has about 30 or so fighters there that we are apparently aware of. There's around about 50 or so fighters over here, so it's a case of, well, even if I run cap, all he has to do is just sweep. All he has to do there is run heavy escort. He could run like one bomber and like 50 fighters, something like that. You know what I mean? And that would really devastate that sort of key squadron there. So I don't think it's worthwhile. If they're going to attack, they get attacked. If they're going to combat mode, they're going to combat mode. If they get any rest, they get any rest. We'll move on. I think what we're going to do then is essentially drive on from this position over here. I wish it was named, but we're going to drive on from north of SunYan to Pegu. Now, this is moving from ×2 into ×1 terrain over here, with this being clear. Rangoon itself, we see about 14 units over here as a garrison here. I'm not entirely sure what his actual strength is, but I don't imagine it's significant. So what I'm going to in fact do then is, once we actually do arrive at Pegu and conquer Pegu, if we do actually arrive, and if we do actually conquer Pegu, I'm more than happy with this hex over here. This hex is superb. It gives us a nice foothold over here, and it gives us the ability to drive into clear terrain. So it's one of those things of, is he going to defend Pegu? I don't think so. I don't really see why he would want to defend Pegu. He still has the road connections, the rail connections. We could even go potentially this way and strike at Rangoon. I'm probably going to occupy that hex anyway, just to make sure we have it. But essentially, I don't think he's going to go ahead and defend Pegu. And I think if he does defend Pegu, he's defending, albeit against like inferior Royal Thai forces. They're not awful. They're not great. You know what I mean? When you're comparing them to like major powers, major militaries. But they're not insignificant, and they can definitely fight. I mean, this is it. If they fight in clear terrain, yes, Burmese or British forces would have a greater advantage in terms of quality. But the thing is, well, you've lost your main advantage, which is the terrain there. It's better to have as many advantages as you can, and and get rid of as many disadvantages as you can as well. So what I'm going to do then is, once we arrive over here at Pegu, I think I will drive north with a division to secure this base I can't recall the name of. And I think I'd be very happy with that. If we got that far, I would be very happy. It's all major road here, which is extremely good. I believe this is ×2 defensive terrain as jungles. And what we could then do from that point is potentially split the division and actually potentially head on towards other bases over here, really. But just to secure as many roads as we possibly can would be ideal. Essentially, what we want to do here then to tackle Rangoon is tackle Burma and then Rangoon in a way. At least until the Japanese forces arrive. But it's only January 12th, we should be able to take Rangoon fairly soon, and taking Rangoon is going to be really awesome. That's going to be quite a nice shift in VP there. It also does bring with it the refineries there, but light industry is very good. But we do have a level 4 airbase and a level 4 port then. Importantly, the port is actually a river hex as well, so it's very easy to defend there, which is very nice. But ultimately, it does cut the Burma... it cuts the Burma road to China, and that is going to be well worthwhile. So that's going to be good. So we're going to rest over here then. You can see that they've got 35, 35, 34, 28, 29, 28 there. 41, 42, 43, 32, 32, 35, disruption there. The issue with the Thai forces is they have a lot of disabled squads already from the get-go that need to be recovered. So they would be far more powerful, they would have far more AV there. But it's one of those things of where it actually doesn't particularly matter that much. Because the offensive power represented by the AV is good. We've got enough. We've got 557 there, which will increase a little bit. But at least the good news is when we're actually attacked, it actually looks like more assault value, which is rather intriguing. Because obviously the disabled squads will fight. I don't imagine they fight as effectively, but they still fight. So that 557 might actually be more than that when it's actually attacked due to the disabled squads actually fighting as well. So it's a little interesting thing there. It's something that does work to our advantage, because you can't really measure that as such. Now, we did have a successful battle over here at Loyang, which is superb. What I'm going to do here then is I'm going to drive the armor south. I'm going to drive it all south by one reconnaissance regiment, which is going to begin moving this way to secure this road here. But we're going to have all the armored units arrive here, so a few hundred tanks will arrive here in clear terrain. We also do have then the 116th Division, which is moving north. So we are going to have then a division there, and then a whole bunch of armor. And then I think what we can go ahead and do is go for like a shock attack, and that probably will completely decimate those cores. I mean, I wouldn't want them to be destroyed, but I would want them to be absolutely decimated. That would be very good. As long as they're not destroyed, that's excellent. We do have the forces then over here at Changchao, which is quite good. I'm not going to do anything yet. I could bombard to see their strength perhaps, but I'd rather just wait. We'll cut them off, which is what will happen here. We'll have them cut off, and we'll go from there then. And China's more or less quiet for the time being, just getting things really into gear. I am taking this unit over here. We do have the first JAF Koi, which is going to be moved down here to San Fernando. By the way, if I sound short of breath, it's because I had a rather large meal. So I'm like falling asleep. I'm food coma. We'll call it that. Now, we actually did have a very successful battle at Clarke. That was very nice there. Like, genuinely quite nice. The 2-to-1 ratio there was excellent. It was I mean, this is it. We lost more men, but we inflicted far heavier casualties, really. Like, yes, we had 3,000 casualties, but most of those, like 99% of those were, well, about 90, about 80, I don't know, whatever you want to call it. A good chunk of those were actually just disabled, which will come back. Well, we had very few actual losses. We had a lot of engineered losses, but we do have engineers actually in these divisions here. So you can see that we still have 46 IGA engineer squads over here. We also do have engineers here. So the divisions are actually in really good shape, which is what really matters. They can see very little disabled. You can see that they do have their own IJ engineers as well. So imagine if each division has about 40 or 50 IJ engineers. I think they have 48 assigned to them. So that's a good few hundred engineers there, really. Nearly 200-ish, something around that. And then we have the independent engineers that are added in there. We actually have quite a few hundred engineers. You can see there, 693 engineers, 28 engineering vehicles. Obviously, a lot of those won't participate as such. But it does depend, actually. It does depend. We might have a lot of engineers, more than we really would imagine, but we have a lot of engineers nonetheless. I don't know if we have all of those that could actually be committed to battle, but yeah, we have a good number. It looks like he's actually pulling back over here at Clarke. So we do see a movement tick over here from Clarke to Bataan, which is intriguing. Make that a better colour. Let's go for green. So, oh, that's even worse. Let's go for the red then. Okay. Yeah, that's miles better. So we can see that something has fallen back from Clarke. We don't know how long it's going to take before it actually leaves the area. If he's moving in combat mode and has only just begun march, it's going to take about 4 days. He's had a day's march, so 3 days now. We could likely attack Bataan again in about 2 days or so. I think we'll have 2 days of rest and an attack on the 3rd day, then after that. And then we could actually be in a position where Clarke falls significantly sooner than we actually first imagined. From that point, it may be worthwhile to go ahead and just chase them to Bataan to destroy them at Bataan. But then again, it might be worthwhile to head over to Manila to destroy them in Manila. I mean, they're times 2 either way, but Manila's major road was to Bataan, its secondary road. But if we took care of Bataan, it would dramatically ease things for us, really. But I don't think it really... it depends, really. It does depend. It's an intriguing one. I think we'll have to judge it on the day that it happens, really. So we do have clear terrain here. This is jungle rough. This is jungle over here. I think that's jungle rough over there as well, actually. But Lingayen is clear terrain. So the issue is, if I go to Bataan, then... okay, he might take the 500 or so AV. There's about 700 assault value in this area, roughly. He might take that and march north onto Lingayen. The thing is, if it takes me 4 days to march back to Clarke, I'm gonna be out of position. He could march over here to this base and then march on towards Lingayen very, very quickly. which obviously we can't really afford. So I think it probably would have to be we leave like a brigade here, or maybe have a division or 2 divisions head that way. Probably a brigade holding Clarke would be worthwhile. Have a brigade to hold Clarke, recover somewhat, and then have the divisions march on towards Manila. Of course, we could have the 21st Division, which is weak, and potentially hold at Clarke just to recover. But the divisions are far more powerful than their assault value suggests. It's all that equipment there which makes a considerable difference. So that's always a good thing. So I think, yeah, probably Manila would be next. We do see attacks, well, we do see units moving down here, so we're going to have to take that into consideration. I'm going to take over this base over here, and then I think I will move units over here to, like, Legazpi, however you want to pronounce that. And possibly reinforce there. Yeah, it's a lot of clear terrain here, which is not exactly ideal. I am moving that unit over there. I've got to hope for the best that they actually do hold, because it could be quite bloody if they don't. So I'm going to actually have them plan for this base over here, Lucina, and just to make sure that they have as much chance as possible actually hold in here. And we actually do have a very poor commander in place, which is not good, so I'm going to get a superior commander in place there. Can't really afford them to be defeated too easily, so place them in control there. Okay. We'll have to see how that goes. I could get reinforcements to the southern end of Luzon fairly quickly. Yeah, so they're going to be total load. I'm going to have them actually head over here to Naga then. We'll have them head around. I could head through here, possibly. We might be able to do that. I do have the Kashai over here. Sorry, the Kashi. She's moving over here to Busuanga, so I can go ahead and actually pick up those paratroopers. But I might even have the light cruiser then escort us through this area. I do have a destroyer here. We do have the light cruiser Apakuma and Suga heading back to this area as well. So we'll actually have a few warships in the area too to help us out. So we'll be able to take it little by little there then, really. Little by little. Right, okay, so we do see fuel over here then. Okay. They're almost done now. They're going to be heading out. What I'm going to do then is begin loading up fuel too. And get them moving out of here as well. I'll be picking up oil then next. That's going to be the next task there, but we'll get that fuel moving while we can. Fuel is something that we can use immediately, which is nice. And by having it moved into Indochina, it does spread out through quite a good chunk of the Empire. I mean, it does mean that we could potentially have access to said fuel around this area, which would be fairly helpful. Indeed, I am moving Hayashio. She's going ahead and taking supplies out here to Port Blair, which is nice. It just keeps it supplied, really, which is very good for us. So yes, we are going to be taking Denpasar over here. I'm going to have the heavy cruisers escort the tankers into Kopang. We do have an AKE on its way towards Kopang now. We do have landing forces being assembled over here at BLeAcHACiD. They'll then be moved up at Benjamin, likely to pick up the regiment there too. But essentially we are getting ready to land over here in Java. I just need to identify the bases really. But we are keeping up the pressure here in Java too, which is good news. So what I'm going to do here then is actually take the 3rd KOS. Now, they do have 12 fatigue, but what I'm going to go ahead and do then is fly them over here to Johor Bahru so they can actually begin moving north and afterwards. So we do have one that's damaged. Shouldn't take long to repair there. Yeah, one day. But what I'm going to do then is leave them to rest here. So it gave them 5 fatigue extra, well on average, but that's fine. We'll then have it moved up into the north, so I can actually have some serious fighter support there actually in place to actually help us out, which is good. I do have the, I'm going to be taking the G4Ms over here actually and have them transferred to Bangkok in the near future. But for the time being, having them operating is quite nice. It definitely helps us out to actually have that additional naval search. Now, I did have the G4Ms actually participate over here beforehand, but what I'm going to do is actually have them switch back to naval search. The reason being is I don't want to accrue a lot of damage here on the airframes, but then I also don't want to actually miss out on any potential threats that might arise from out here. We do have 21 out from here, but having a little bit more out here does make a considerable difference. I'm actually going to go ahead and actually send these torpedo boats to actually try and intercept these 3 APs over here. I am taking the MKBB, and I'm actually going to have it head over here to Pontianak, so it can actually go into the size 3 port there. I am taking assets and moving them down to Palembang. I'm taking other assets and moving them to Pontianak as well, just to try and keep them safe, keep them out of the way. Yeah. Unloading over here at Kuantan. Right, I have gone ahead and moved additional assets down here to make sure we can actually get an eye on Singapore there. And I have actually signed the G3M2s to actually join the airfield attacks this time around. And just to try and up the damage there as much as possible, additional bombs on the airfield would definitely be welcomed. It's like right now, we're not even sure we have any damage on Singapore, and it could very well be the case that we don't, because we really... I don't think we have any damage there on Singapore, which is extremely dangerous. It's reduced... it's been reduced too much there. Which is a shame. We did actually send the bombers out there to attack, so it wasn't for lack of trying, it was the weather there. But we need to make sure we get those ahead. We need to make sure we actually get those numbers up, sorry. We are going to be attacking over here with the 42nd Infantry Regiment once again. We do have our forces over here then. They're all resting. Yeah. These fellows over here, naval support is good to have. The engineers can, however, move back across here to Low Star. No real need for them. As we do have the facilities actually all repaired, which is good. Okay. So they're moving there. Shipping engineers are useful to have here. That naval support would be wasted elsewhere. So we'll keep them here, then it would allow us to actually have Georgetown made operational pretty quickly and have things loaded and unloaded pretty quickly. We do see Allied mines over here, but I imagine they're going to be dissipating pretty quickly at this point now. It is coastal, so it shouldn't be too quick, but they'll be dissipating. I do have over here then, we have the A6M20s which are running cap. We are running naval search with 2 of the G3 groups, and 1 G3 group is running detection of Moresby. I'm moving these ships out as quickly as they can. We do have... well, what we're doing here then is we're going to have the A5M4 Claudes, the Chitose Squadron. They're going to go ahead and move elsewhere. That would be ideal. Now, what I'm going to do here then, just to ensure that we actually do have a fair bit of security in that area, is I'm going to go ahead and actually commit the other element to the squadron here, to Rabaul. Okay, there we go. It might have been better to have left it there to accrue more numbers, but I am very worried about this area. I really do not like to I don't like leaving this area prepared. So what I'm going to do is actually take this squadron here and have them actually sighted to Lagi, as we have moved the A5M4s out. It is a heck of a lot better to actually have additional cap here, in the form of the actual zeros. At least there's something a little bit more serious when it comes to an actual form of protection there. Which I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth there, actually. So over here we'll have them set up. Having 16 is quite nice. It's very nice, actually. So it's a pretty big luxury, to be honest, compared to what we've had in the past. But it does give us a lot of options in the area too. It means that we can actually protect things if we wish to protect them, or if we need to protect them. And yeah, so we have a squadron there, squadron there, squadron there. That does help out this area considerably. We'll be able to resize additional squadrons over here at Akagi. Right now we are resized on board Akagi, so you can see that we have the B4Y1 genes over here on board the Akagi, which have been resized to 93, so they'll be done next turn, and that squadron will be resized. So what I'll be able to do then is actually train far more torpedo pilots, well, torpedo bomber pilots, and even in dire circumstances, actually even employ the B4Y1s there in a pinch. I mean, they're not amazing, but they're carrier trained and capable, so it's not bad at all, really. I mean, they are biplanes, but I know a few people will really love biplanes. Like, they're fairly slow. They are fairly slow. Their durability isn't actually as bad as you'd imagine. They do have a tail gun there. But the thing is, they're carrying an 18-inch Type 91 torpedo, which I think is the same torpedo as what we carry across the board. So this is it. They've got an actual good range there as well. Normal radius is 6, so they can actually still strike out of 6 hexes. That's not bad, you know. That's really not bad. So that's it. I mean, that is a pretty... it might be an underwhelming aircraft, but hey, if we were to suddenly have, I don't know, tens of them actually available for action, that could be quite good. The fact that they are carrier trained and carrier capable is actually really quite important, because that could actually give us quite a lot of... it could help us out in a pinch, essentially. So it's good to have additional things there, but pretty much they're going to be used for training alone, as unlikely to see combat. Right, so over here, what I'm going to be doing then is, I do have these forces over here. I thought about, well, I think it would be a better idea just well, then again, the issue is I don't have that many destroyers. That's the problem. So I don't really want to have to get rid of additional destroyers, to be honest. It's not exactly ideal. Run more night naval search. There we go. But what I'm going to do then is actually have them merge over here with Karga. Now, I've actually reduced the Karga group over here. Never in night. Night's important because we don't really... I've got day more or less covered. Having a little bit of days are useful, but we've got night to look after. But I do have Hirashima Ashigara escorting the Karga alongside these destroyers. I do have the destroyers over here. So what's going to happen is... Karga, which is going to be, well, the combined, sorry, the Kidabata is going to merge into Karga. They're going to follow Task Force 77. 77 is going to follow Task Force 94. Both of these are ASW task forces. So what will happen is 94 will move a hex. 70, well, let's say 94 moves here, 77 moves here, Karga's here. 94, 77, Karga. 94, 77, Karga. 97, 94, Karga. 97, what is it, 94, 97, sorry, what is it, 94, 77, Karga, 94, 77, Karga. So that's how we'll go for it. Not moving tremendously fast, so we'll actually have these forces moving then next turn. I don't expect us to move too far, as Karga doesn't move that quick. And of course we do have the carriers to actually allow to catch up to. They are faster, so they should do it. Something else I'm doing as well is I'm moving Haruna back. So I'm going to do the same tactic over here. So we do have Task Force 87. 87 has been followed by Task Force Task Force 3 over here. So yeah, I'm going to have Haruna sent back to be dry docked and repaired. I can't really risk her out here with that sort of damage there. She's been hit once, it slows us down. It's not really worth the risk there. But we'll get them moving. We are running extended range from all the H6K4s over here. The worry that we have right now is our naval search extends to something like that range out there. That's actually probably being far too generous. It's probably around about there, something like that. You can imagine obviously a little bit less, something like that. So there is this sort of area here, which is probably a little bit more generous, but it might not be too far off the truth. But is this area over here where the well, the enemy could be? This is where the enemy could in fact be, and there wouldn't be much we'd know about it. See, that is the problem, is we aren't aware of what he has out this way. I'm trying to think how to draw an aircraft now. How do I draw an aircraft, like 2D? Let me draw a seal. Yeah, draw a seagull. There we go. Okay, so these seagulls represent these like air groups, and they're going to come crashing down on us like a ton of bricks, essentially. So that's a beautiful image, actually. I love it. Okay, that amused me far too much. So what we're going to do then is essentially move on to this area, and then we'll drive on something like that and attack Wake. He does have his shipping out there at Wake, which is worth quite a lot of victory points, but the fact is, well, these ships are the target. The future really is we have to secure Wake. We need Wake. So we need to focus on what matters, and that is Wake. We'll secure Wake, and then, yeah, worry about other things later. That's essentially going to be the way we go there. So, yeah, it's looking fairly well. We do have things in motion. I do have the APD loaded up over here, but Teddy, yeah, Taddy. She's going to be sent over here to Namla to secure that air base over there. We have secured additional bases in the area. We're going to continue to actually conquer these bases now. The APDs will definitely come in handy, but securing this base over here at Denpasar is going to be good. Because there's another base over here. Importantly, it gives us coast watchers over here, which is very nice. It actually helps out. We have Oosthaven, we have Denpasar. It's not long now before we actually do go ahead and invade Java proper, which I'm looking forward to. We are going to be resting again over here at Singapore. Oh, right, I see. Never mind. There we go, all units. We're going to rest over here, get that fatigue down, get that disruption down, and then we'll attack again. But yes, we need to get that level of damage over here at Singapore up on the airfields there. We're going to be bombarding over here at Clarke with the artillery. I'm really, really happy that we have this artillery, because we do have some pretty tremendous artillery here. Like, some pretty legitimately scary artillery. Let's see, first heavy. So those are 240mm guns, which are no joke there. We do have 280mm guns there too. Yeah, 15 centimeter guns. More 15s. Is it that one? Yes, and then we have a 320mm T98 mortars there. Those bad boys do... they absolutely pack a punch. So that's fine. We can continue to bombard him. If he's withdrawing forces, that's good, because that means he's going to have inevitably less forces there shortly. But he's going to have to move in combat mode, which is going to slow him down. He's going to be subjected to another 2-3 days of bombardment, maybe an attack on the third day as well. He's taken legitimate losses there, and that's really good. Things are going well, actually, Clarke. Surprisingly well. Surprisingly well. The good news is our AV has been reduced somewhat, but not tremendously, while his has definitely and permanently been reduced too, which is very good news. So you can see we're now at 1,948, we're down from 2,100. We should be able to recover that to maybe 2,000 in about 2 days or so. Maybe a little bit less than that. But he's had an absolute drop of 50 odd. We had an absolute drop of the engineers. Which is 80 odd, but then again we do have a rather overwhelming advantage anyhow. We also have the advantage of the artillery. We have a lot of things going for us in Luzon. We just need to push hard on him there, really. That's going to be good. So yeah, things are in motion. What I'm going to do over here then is actually increase the altitude of the sweep in zeros, in fact. Because that definitely needs to go ahead. So, let's go ahead and go to 31,000 feet there. There we go. Looking good. Looking good. We're getting there now. We are getting there. Looking forward to when things steady down for us a little bit. Like, when we have Java, things will be a lot easier to manage. But, yeah. When we have Singapore, that allows us to make additional choices there. We'll be able to move in there to clear Singapore pretty quick. But another day's rest at Singapore, and then likely we'll attack. It may even be we have a third day's rest, just to make sure we get as much rest as possible, really try to recover as much as possible. But it is going to take inevitable attacks. It might be that we wait until we have the additional armor here, to be honest. Having the armored units there would, I'd imagine, finally seal the deal there. We will be able to seal the deal with the forces we have at Singapore, considering we've reinforced as well. We do have the rest of the 4th Division headed down there too. There's also a regiment heading down to Johor Bahru that could be potentially used if needed. But I think having a couple, well, about 100 plus tanks would actually definitely help us out there. It would probably give us that edge to really be able to just drive home the last attack, really. We just need those odds to be increased, and having armor in there would definitely help out too. So there we go. We're looking pretty good. We're looking pretty fine. Just getting things really into gear at this moment in time. So nice say, big thank you here, ladies and gentlemen. If you guys have enjoyed this, please do subscribe. It is really, really important that you do so. If you are watching the channel, if you are enjoying my content and you're not subscribed, please do consider subscribing. It definitely helps the channel to grow. Please share the videos as well. That definitely helps out too. And I hope you guys are looking forward to the next episode. Big thank you to my patrons as well. Always appreciated. Thank you to all my viewers. You guys are absolutely awesome. And ideal we'll see more success in the next turn, really. We did have a very successful major attack at Loyang. That went great. So pretty good turn. Fair few battles. Let's hope that we don't have any battles go against us next turn, really. So we'll see what happens. It should be a relatively quiet turn in comparison to this turn, but then this is really how things go. Let's see. Go with Redfields. There we go. Until next time, thank you for watching, ladies and gentlemen. Has ever been a blast. Hope to see you again in the future. Tena Heka Banzai, Oyasuminasai. Goodbye for now.